It is election day in Canada. It is Monday. It is MWP time. We are here. What are we going to be talking about? Obviously, you can see right there frustration. 3 points secured. What else are we going to be talking about? Obviously, Serie A, other results, our thoughts on the Coppa Italia win. What is up? What's left for Milan in the next 4 games and what to expect? Some news. And on that note, Stevie P, shall we get the show on the road?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Cari amici sportivi, welcome to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast, where we talk everything Milan. So, at least 3 points, Milan. Guys, yes, it is a big day for us, for Canadians, election day, but we are here. We did our civic duty. We're here to talk about Milan and Steve, a Milan that went from 9th place to 9th place. Not bad, not bad. Before we start, I just wanted to first off, before getting your thoughts on the Coppa Italia, guys, to subscribers, to the comments, to the viewers, to the listeners, Patreon, thank you so very much. Thank you to Milan Club Montreal members yesterday at 6:30 a.m. watching the game. Super chats are open, guys. If you want to show some support, we really appreciate that. But a quick thank you to all of you guys, from Liban Youssef to even Facebook Frank was the first one to comment. It's been a while, but just a quick thank you to you all. And Steve, I know Gio and Fabio did their show last week on the Coppa Italia, but your thoughts, man. I just need to hear historic. I'm not going to say historic win, but I heard all the excuses from the Interistas. One of them telling me, you're welcome, but I just felt like it was a good performance, but it's not the Inter that we would grow. If we're going to just play Inter 38 times during the season, right? But your thoughts?
Look, we talked about it earlier this week. It is the Coppa Italia, but ci voleva. It was something that I think this team needed. My thoughts are, as always, I'm a Scudetto Champions League first. Everything else is very nice, but we have to, come to terms of where we are with this Milan. And right now, sitting in 9th place, not getting any better in the standings. When you beat Inter, it feels good. A derby is always a derby. They can have whatever excuse they want, that they can field whatever team they want. In the end, it's Milan that advances and Inter goes home. And will they go down to the words of Marco Materazzi? That didn't look good this weekend either. So we'll talk about it later.
And very quickly, Steve, you were on local TV talking about the victory. How was that, man? Good job there. He came into the chateau of Il Vice-Presidente of Milan Club Montreal. So, guys, I don't know if you have on Facebook, Stevie P's page, the clip was out there on Ici Montréal, local channel here in Montreal. But that was pretty cool to see you on there and talking with your Italiano perfetto, Steve.
Absolutely. Marco and the team of Omni News came over. We had a cafe. He's a fellow Milanista. Cameraman Tony was there too. Fantastic guy. We chatted. We went through fast, one take. Boom, they were gone. That's local TV.
Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Sunday, 6:30, and this all came from my cousin Johnny's great ideas. Meeting up at the bar for the game. Thank you to Ralib, thank you to Bizak, thank you to, and obviously Johnny was there 15 minutes later. Thank you to Presidente for paying the tab. 6:30 in the morning, Steve. You snooze fest. It was kind of a snooze fest because it just felt like, hey, you know what? Let's score very nice and early. And like Venezia is not like battling for, staying atop Serie A or a team like that, right? Like and quite lucky because Venezia, deserved kind of that, that goal, because they did play very well. But snooze fest, Steve, maybe it looks like you agree with this title there of a definite snooze fest.
If we would be in a different position in the standings, I would take these 3 points and run. With a Milan team that struggled all year, that's where the frustration comes. Are you happy that we got the 3 points? Absolutely. But yes, there will be ugly games. Milan traditionally is not good at the 12 o'clock games or 6 o'clock in the morning games for whatever reason. But you can't have performances like that. You cannot, take the lead and then just let your guard down and hope for Magic Mike Sando Michele to come up with saves or get assists from lack of quality strikers at Venezia. The rest of the game is really, really frustrating, and we're dropping points again. So that's scary.
Jovic, to me, deserving of the starting call, but got some sort of, I don't know. We like to get injuries, Steve, not while we play, while il riscaldamento. But chapeau to Abraham, because notice that even on that goal, it was Abraham that went to get that ball, and he's been doing his job, Steve. And for the rest of the team, like, talking about this 3-4-3, it looks like it's been gelling good, but then you have a lackluster performance like this, and talking about, so many times is, that wasteful in front of goal. But, did you agree with Abraham coming on? And we'll talk about Jimenez, even though it looks like he's, I don't know, I'm not sure he's injured but Jovic did deserve that starting call. He's been doing pretty good.
Yeah, Jovic again. This is, I think, the story of his career. Once he left Germany, everywhere he went, he's just riddled with injuries. He cannot stay healthy, and this is a big problem, right? And it's something that, yes, great performance against Inter, gets a brace that's probably defining for him, and probably was attached with some sort of renewal. But then reality kicks in, and you cannot have a striker who is, needing 10, 15 games to get started. And then after that 15th game, you're going to miss him again for another 10, 15 days. This is just not the game anymore. And this is the knock on Jovic. Did he deserve to start? Absolutely. But I'm happy that at least they came out, and again, not happy that he's injured, but explain to the people why he didn't get the start, right? Because then you would be scratching your head. Tabi Abraham has always done the job. Is he the striker of the future? Absolutely not. And Jimenez needs to be slapped around a bit and welcome to Italy, because this is not your regular rodeo.
Yeah. Talking about the wastefulness in front of goal, Steve. I'm thinking, would it be the Teo one? Would it be Loftus-Cheeks in the end? Like, there were so many wasted chances, and it's just like not being able to finish. And it just looks like we're a broken record. The final third. How many years have been talking about this whole final third? And way too many chances wasted, because we've been punished in the past, especially this year. And in the end, I can't even give you an explanation why all these wasted chances in front of goal.
I think it's just it's a combination of not everybody always being on the same page, which is a bit of a problem. And I think we correlate that back to we've just haven't had since Pioli haven't had really any concrete or consistency at the head coaching position, right? So I'm not sure Fonseca was either given the time or selected of his players to implement whatever system he wanted, and it seems like Consensao is in the same boat. Come in, do a patch job, and you're hoping these guys will click and gel. That just doesn't work all the time, and this is on Milan and the management that we've talked about throughout the whole year. And when we do the year in review, it will be a huge and utterly capital F from management on how they planned out this season and how they made their decisions, because it's not getting any better. And the wastefulness is, again, I think it's a lack of confidence as well. It seems like these guys are scared at times. Yeah, are scared at times, and Jovic in the Coppa Italia semi-final, we saw him get at the end of a cross, which is a miracle this season with Milan. And the second goal was being at the right place at the right time, which is also a miracle for Milan at this point in the season. We'll take it, exactly. And then that just doesn't happen against Venezia. And instead of having a three goal lead, you have a 1-goal lead up until the final minutes. And then Jimenez's goal is just basically, hey, I hope this wakes him up and he gets back on a scoring streak.
We're talking about how we gave Venezia way too many chances, right, to score. And then you get stats like this whole 3-4-3, we've only given up a goal in 3 games. How do you explain that, Steve? Is it we're just being lucky? Defensively looks like it's working, but then you look back at the way Venezia played and way too many chances, especially against a team that's battling relegation.
I don't know. I really don't. I really can't explain it. And
do you think this is the formation to continue? Even though, let's say, you see this, okay, yes, we haven't given up that many goals the way we've been giving up this year, but the way we've been giving up these, especially against Venezia, was really horrible. Would you still continue with this? Because it seems to be working, the 3-4-3.
I think you have no choice at this point. In reading up on just what everybody was thinking on the tactical side, there it seems like not even Conceição is really a big fan of this formation.
Yeah,
but it's working for him. So at this point, I would continue with it. But this is up to the manager as well, right? And we try to be as fair as possible, but the manager needs to be able to tweak at a certain point if things are not going his way. If you're conceding a bit too much, you need to find solutions during a match or with the players, or make adjustments. And I'm not saying always substitutions, but just adjustments on what needs to be done and where you're suffering and how you're suffering, and how you can stop from suffering.
Definitely. And we do have 4 games left. We got Genoa next Monday, Steve. Then, we got Bologna back-to-back for Serie A and the Coppa Italia. Let's finish off this review, Steve. You have a top and flop of this match. Easy. I liked, it's been a couple of games we hadn't seen Captain America, what we've been used to seeing from Captain America. I liked what I saw from him. How about a flop? Okay, how about you? Your top? Would you go with Pulisic on this one? Reindeers too. Fofana had a good game.
Look, I like Pulisic because I think he was engaged, and after the goal, it seemed like he didn't stop, and he was running and probably tracked quite a bit of kilometers in this game. So yeah, I need to give him that top because I think he set the tone from the beginning, and I think Abraham gets honorable mention for a lot of the work that he did up front and on top. I didn't like, Pavlovic and Tamori seemed a little bit confused at times. And was that because we were suffering so much? If I would have to give a flop in this game, and I don't think, Venezia was dangerous, but I don't think they were that dangerous. I would have to give it to our center back pairing. I just didn't see them as comfortable as we're usually used to seeing them when we're playing with a lead. We kind of always either concede first and are always playing catch up, which is always hard for center backs. But now that you're playing for the lead, you would think that it would be a little bit more confident. But I don't know. I would say the center backs were my weakest link there.
I found Theo too did not have the greatest game. Well, if you don't ask Di Francesco, because he was really vocal on Theo, but I just felt Theo had a couple of good games where he was just not the Theo of Grande Theo, but this one I just felt he wasn't up to par. I'm gonna have to go with Theo on this one. Steve at least didn't ruin the good feeling from winning being in the Coppa Italia final, because I think if we would have lost this game or dropped points being in a Coppa Italia final, I don't think people have been talking about that. So at least bringing that positivity from there and now let's bring that on to the following Monday. Are we ready for talking about the other good week 34 here, Stevie? So let's go to the rest of the Serie A. This segment is brought to you by Fubo.tv, your home for all things Serie A and the EPL here in Canada, e si potete ascoltare in italiano. Como doing it again, Steve. Keep on doing it again. They were already secure, but 1-0 at home against Genoa. Hopefully not a, maybe not a Monza that's going to do it for a couple of years and go down, but we'll see what happens for next year. Como definitely securing Serie A next year. Fiorentina a casa, much needed 3 points for them. We've seen the tables 2-1 at Empoli. Let me see if I could. Here we go. That was for Liban Youssef. Fiorentina 2-1. Empoli, them needing the 3 points, Stephen. What a battle that's going to be. About Fiorentina, you think they're going to keep it up for the last 4 games?
Look, Fiorentina has been one of those teams that similar to Milan, but with better results. You never know which Fiorentina is going to come. So Adli gets on the board there, and they do get this 2-1 victory against Empoli. I think with 4 games left, I think they will continue this pace. So,
and then a game that both teams needed the 3 points. And Steve, I'm going to ask you about this game, and then your comment that you put out, I think it was in the second half. Is Roma trying to, do they really want to win this game? Or I think you had said, are they trying to lose this game? Your thoughts on this? Because at the beginning, Steve, Roma could have been up. Oh my God, what did they miss in those first 15, 20 minutes? And now all of a sudden, La Stanchezza comes on. I don't believe in this whole Stanchezza, and you're supposed to have a bench. But how do you explain your thoughts on this game?
I think Roma really came out and really dictated some play in the beginning of the match. They got and you need to be lucky sometimes to win, and they did get lucky on their goal. I think that wasn't even their best chance of them scoring, but at the right place at the right time for Soleil. I think they missed a lot of other chances that maybe, a better, a more fresh Inter would have probably punished them. But I think Inter's in a funk. I don't think it's tiredness. I think it might be mental tiredness. Defensively, they look very weak without Bastoni.
They're telling me, senza Thuram, we can't play. I'm like, okay, just one player without Thuram, you guys can't play. It's like, come on, again, all excuses possible, but did you think Inter deserved to lose this one? Because they came out swinging in the second half.
They did, but this is the rule of the soccer gods, right? When you need to put away chances, if you don't put them away, the soccer gods will be in their favor, and they were in the favor of Roma today. Inter just need to figure things out because this is 3 consecutive negative losses, dropping points. Now you're 3 behind Naples. Everything becomes a little bit tighter. Every pass is a little bit more more stressful. I don't think Inter were thinking of having an end of a campionato like this. I think at a certain point they thought they were going to be able to pull away, and now they find themselves,
Napoli let
3
them
point
come back, Steve. Napoli let them come back, right? How many games? Eight games without like from the beginning of 2025. So going to be exciting last 4 games. Juve 2, Monza 0, and the Yildiz loses his mind, Steve. And I was reading up, possibly per la gomitata, 3-game suspension. I don't think they're going to do a 3-game suspension on here, but no surprise in this result. Juve taking home the 3 points against Monza. But do you believe? And when was the last time we saw somebody get 3-game suspension?
He should get it, and it's not even for the govitat; it's for the stupidity, the complete dumbness and immaturity of Yildiz in a game that Juve was just controlling, had no reason to suffer at all. Even going a man down against Monza didn't really make a big difference. It's just pure stupidity. He had no good reason to do that. Why? Because he was holding his arm. Like, who cares? You're winning 2-0. Like you wear that, you wear that 10, and we talked about it earlier in the year where he celebrates and thinks he's Del Piero. You have 0 class, you have 0 anything of Del Piero. So like, settle down, youngster. Like, this is things that are really, really, really immature. And they're honestly, they're things that if you're not playing Monza, you're paying the price for that, and you're dropping points. So,
I just saw Rudiger in the Coppa del Rey, and he's like, maybe I should lose my mind as well. If you guys haven't seen that, that's quite something to see. Lech, I don't know if you could have written this one in the start, Steve. I have my opinions about this, but it's not a time to discuss. Lecce loses their massage therapist, I believe, on Wednesday or Thursday. They were supposed to play. The Pope died. They asked to delay. Then they asked to delay again, and they were forced to play. They wore the shirt, and all of a sudden they're up 1-0. Up 1-0 against at home. In Atalanta. Atalanta get a penalty to do 1-1, and this is kind of the Atalanta that I saw against Milan, because against Milan too they were lackluster, and 1-1, and Atalanta seems that every time they could take a bit of a bit of a bump or take some points, they just seem to come up short.
Yeah, for Atalanta fans, it feels like 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. Not great for them. They needed to keep on that pressure. They're very strange. They're a very strange team, Atalanta. I give them respect because I think they do it with they have a good project. It's just they cannot take that final hump or that final step, and it's dropping points late in the season like this that just don't do them any favors, right? So that's the Achilles heel of Atalanta.
It's like that. I think it was week 19 or 20 where if they would have won against, I believe it was Venezia, they would have been at pari punti with Napoli and Inter, right? And it's just whenever you need that, it just doesn't happen. Il Scozzese, McTominay, gets the job done, gets the 3 points to Napoli. 3 points now ahead in per il Scudetto. Torino, Steve, I thought they were going to put up a bit more of a fight than this, but I think everybody was expecting a Napoli win on this one.
Yeah, and Torino doesn't have too much to play for. I don't think, not even mathematically. Well, I think mathematically they can. It'll be hard to catch Milan. I don't even know if I could say that, but yeah, it's possible to catch Milan. So I don't know what they're going to be playing for. They are safe. They got to be worried about Como. Como might even surpass them, right? So at 42 points. So, but again, Torino playing at the Maradona against Naples, and Naples, having the luxury of already seeing what Inter did. They got the job done. It's Mick Frate. Apparently, that's his new nickname, Mick Fratema. And guys, that's Mick Fratema or something like that. That has to be probably. He has to be the signing of the year. Imagine. I don't think there's anybody better.
Yeah, you know what? That's gonna be, maybe a good question to put even to you guys. What do you guys think? Signing of the year for Serie A. We'll jot this down for a question for our Serie A year in review, Milan year in review. Udinese, Steve, we know them as ball busters. They weren't ball busters against us, but today definitely ball busters. Bologna dropping points today 0-0. I was trying to watch a bit from work to see what was going on, but Orsolini missed a couple of shots there. But do you think this will impact Bologna if we take a look at the tables? You think this score?
Huh? This was for, it's 2 points that you drop that get you out of the Champions League spot and give it back to Juve. So, this is where Bologna needs to start to learn that you can't be dropping points against Udine, especially at an Udine team that has nothing to play for. When Milan is putting 4 past Udine, and Bologna, you show up at Udine and can't get the 3 points. Psychologically, and I think Bologna also has a little bit of the injury bug at the worst possible time. Maybe Bologna is starting to think a little bit past their present. So.
Lazio saving themselves, Steve. Parma going up 2-0. Then Pedro takes care of scoring 2 goals to tie it up. Lazio could have went, let's come straight to the table. Lazio, Parma 2, Verona, and Verona losing 2-0 against Cagliari. Looks like relegation teams. I don't know if they're battling, but taking a look at Lazio, Steve. They could have been, at 61 points, just behind you, tied with Bologna. How do you see? Oh, this is hard. 4 games left. Look, I think the bottom Lecce looks a bit of breathing room there, but but what say you, man? What do you think is gonna move more? The bottom right? The bottom teams, or the third to 6th place in the last 4 games.
I think 3rd to 6th will probably move more.
Definitely, because you got Parma. I would say Parma's safe, right? They, at least with that point today, it's all playing between.
They could have been really safe, and I'm pretty sure they're kicking themselves for that, and I'm pretty sure Lazio is also kicking themselves. Yes, it's 1 point that brings them to 60. But if you add 2 to them, they would have been tied with Juve in 4th.
Exactly. So let's go with, 4 games left. Juve staying in 4th, Steve? Let's go with one team. I'm going to ask you what your opinion on one team. Is Juve staying in top 4? I think it's not an easy question to answer. 4 games left.
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think Juve will stay in 4th.
I'm gonna agree with you, and people are gonna clip it, whatever. But I don't see it either. And on that segment was brought to you by Fubo.tv, your home for all things Serie A and EPL here in Canada. Steve, talking about this news, you like to call it la telenovela, right? And we're talking yesterday morning, and you remember, right? Week 5, Roma gets rid of Daniele De Rossi, and not a peep. You haven't heard anything. Why? I'm like, imagine if it was Milan in that situation. There would have been stories. It's like the leakage that happens, this organization, I don't know what's going on. And And then we take this direttore sportivo. We went from Paratici, done deal, to now Moncada, no, siamo a posto adesso, abbiamo una buona organizzazione. Now I'm looking at these articles you're posting. Like, what is the holdup? Do you think it's just not the right time at this season? Are you convinced we're getting a direttore sportivo?
They better. That's my message to them. They better, because they're not in control of what's happening. This team is in desperate need of a sporting director. We had Maldini. You ran him out of town. You had Maldini. You had Massara. You had Maldini, and I was the first to defend and say, look, maybe they're moving on, maybe, but not to this. This is complete and utter childish. This is we're not playing EAFC or Pro Evolution soccer here. Like, these guys need to understand that there has to be a sporting director with a plan who can do his mercato, who can do a mercato that fits in a budget that comes from the team. Like, guys, I understand that whoever you're looking for, if it's Iliatare, you can get him right away if you want, if he's your man. If it's D'Amico from Atalanta, well, you can't, and I get that too.
Of course,
if that's your man, it's 100%. I get that, but like, silence the critics. Like, silence this thing. Like, why are we talking? Why do we need to look like a clown circus? Why do we need to be always the front page for the wrong reasons? That's the thing that irritates me the most, right? Why does Moncada say, no, we're good this way? No, we're not. Because the fans are not stupid. We're not stupid. You're not good like this. You're not a sporting director. You're a scout. Furiani is not a sporting director. He's a financial Excel guy. Ibrahimovic is not a sporting director, right? Whatever his future aspirations are, right now, sporting director should not be on his CV, because this has been an utter disaster. And, in a Serie A where, I truly believe Napoli is not that strong. Inter, we are obviously seeing, is not that strong. This was open for Milan with,
some kind of guidance and some kind of project. And I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, we were going to win the Scudetto and get our 20th Scudetto and get that second star. But I think it was a possibility. It was a good year. Everybody stumbled. Everybody, and we would have added Milan to this race. We would have had important games. I think we still have to play Bologna again. We still have to play Roma. Like, there would have been important, meaningful games. And I think, we could have made that run. But I think without having the guidance of a sporting director, which, again, ultimate fail from Fruliani and crew, and that's on them. And I hope that, Jerry makes them accountable, because in the end, he is the owner and he's the only one who can make them accountable.
He made Maldini accountable. He made him accountable, right? So if you're a business guy, Jerry, right? We never liked your decision. We understood it in somehow, some way, but you got to hold him accountable. And how about you guys? Why does Milan always have to make things off the pitch so hard? And then what I don't understand, Steve, is you look at what you posted there, Theo and Magnan. You have reindeers that resigned, right? You have rumors that Magnan and Theo like everybody wants somehow to stay. And look at the circus of going on in the upper management. How do you explain that? Do you think going good in these last 4 games will help guys like that resign?
Will it help them resign? Again, this has to be a team decision. This has to be what are the plans for Milan in the future? What do we want to do? Are we going for it next year? Are you keeping Magnan? Are you keeping Theo? Will they want to stay without Champions League football? Will they want to stay in Europa League football? They've stayed in the past.
They've stayed in the past, but now it's a different time in their career, right? They're older. They've won a Scudetto. Do they want to do something different? This is all stuff that Milan and the sporting director needs to figure out. Not Friulani with his calculator, not Ibra with his late night talk shows. It's the sporting director's job to figure out what's going to happen next. And that's starting from a coach. It's starting with a plan. It's starting with a project. It has to start somewhere. And that start begins with selecting a goddamn fucking sporting director.
You know what I'm afraid, Steve, Fabio shared it with us. You put it up there too. Oh, I don't know if I would laugh or cry. Is that there's still that possibility they won't? And would you be surprised, Steve? It's like just get a fucking sporting director, because you can't come up with these stories now. When did these stories come out? 7-8 games ago, whatever. But do you think there's a possibility? No, there can't be a possibility. They need a sporting director, especially after this mess of a season, right? But if we would put up again here, it was that who had posted that, Steve? I think it was from Sports Media Set. But do you think it's just damage control right now, saying that siamo a posto così, or they are definitely getting somebody?
That's not damage control. That's just causing more drama in a situation that should have been squashed a long time ago.
Steve, you put up an article here at se dovesse il Bologna, se dovesse scegliere tra vincere la Coppa Italia e qualificazione Champions, la risposta è scontata. So to our English only speaking, what is he trying to say, and what did you decide to post this one here?
To be honest, I don't really know what he's trying to say. That's why I put it up there. I think as Bologna, if I'm a Bologna fan or a Bologna, I want both, right? Like I don't want to make a choice.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to make a choice. I think you can navigate with 4 games left, both. Not, and again, did it really age well by them dropping points against Udine? No, because that's not how you that's not how you qualify for Champions League. No, so
I don't know what he was trying to say.
It's just a very strange mentality, right? So for me, it would be I want both, and we'll see where the games take us. Not am I gonna choose, right? So
it was a Moncada Furlani kind of answer on that one, but confusing. Steve, let's talk a bit about the Coppa Italia, and then we'll just run up in our closing thoughts. In the past, it's always easy to say, nobody really cares about La Coppa Italia, and it's a meaningless trophy. But that was always the answers you would hear when their team or our team would lose. But it is the first time since 2018 they were making a final, Steve. When do we win the last one? Last jersey that we had with, that would be a nice little addition to the jersey. What do you call it? Tricolore, or just the little round saying your Coppa Italia winner?
Tricolore, little Coppa Italia winner target.
You get automatically not Coppa Italia money, but for the Super Coppa next year, obviously again in Saudi Arabia, some extra money. Steve, even for, a boost for fans, morale, and possibility of Europa League. And the way we're looking at it right now, we ain't doing not even Confederation Conference League. So talk to me about how you feel about this Coppa Italia and how we should approach this. And, it is an important, especially in this season. Is the Coppa Italia more important now because of the season that we've been having? Or would you feel the same way about, let's just say we're top 4 or battling for the Scudetto?
Still the same. I want to win everything. I don't want to lose. I think that this is important for Milan fans, just because it cannot be a band-aid on a very bad season. Let me just say that.
I like
For
that.
me, the season is a failure, and I spoke about it before. Is I think, this is a missed opportunity for Milan to get that second Scudetto that everybody wants, to make Champions League football again, to be competitive in that tournament, get the revenue from that tournament. But the Coppa Italia, I don't want people to misunderstand me. It's not that it's not important. It is. But in the tre of the triplete, it's the one that comes, with the least amount of importance, just because of what the other two mean, right? And especially if you get the chance to go far in the Champions League as many times as Milan has, and win Scudetto 19 as much as Milan has, it becomes hard to be competitive on all three fronts. And the teams that are there, again, we've seen the Lazios, we've seen Inter, we've seen Roma, we've seen so many teams. That is something that has to be taken as, for Milan this year, this is a trophy that they need to win. And if Milan plays in Europa League next year, this is a trophy that Milan needs to take serious, because this is the type of tournament that, financially, where Milan is financially, we can compete with the teams in the Europa League.
And it can mean a lot of $1 million. It can mean a lot of
minus the
millions,
English
Steve.
team, millions, and entry into the Champions League, right? So it's another way to get in, but it's a trophy that fans can celebrate. Have we, do we have many UEFA Cups? I don't even know if we have. We don't want them, because we have, like I said earlier this week, 7 fucking Champions League trophies. 7. Like, we're not catching. Like, there's gonna be no one who's gonna catch Real Madrid. Like, I'm sorry, it's gonna be very.
No.
It has to be. It has to be something that flips completely upside down. But can we at least stay in second in that domain? Like, it's really important. Like, I am really happy when Liverpool gets kicked out. I won't lie. I'm happy when Bayern Munich gets kicked out. I won't lie. Right? Because those are the other ones at 6, and they would be at 7. So I think Serie A in Italy need to take a good hard look at what what competitions they can actually compete in.
He's a bit crazy when he talks, because I know that time he has said the Europa League is a European league for the Serie A. He wasn't wrong, right, Steve? He wasn't wrong. Steve, do you know if Coppa Italia winner finishes 5th, does that make another team in the Europa League? Or I'm not sure. If you guys let us know if probably Facebook Frank knows. You're on mute.
There was a breakdown in Gazzetta dello Sport. It was very good. I just forgot to clip it. It actually explained what would happen if Bologna wins and what happens if Milan wins.
Okay, I'll go have a look at that. So how about you guys? What would you consider, I can't say will be a success, but what would you, a salvageable season, right? Coppa Italia, in what position you need to finish? Let us know, guys. Jovic injured, Steve, but looks like it was just for ASAP. Forget about Conte, or really coaches coming. Brian Furlan doesn't have some Conte knows it. He does, and it for me, it's just like, I don't know how sad you would feel if I'm a Napoli fan and you're about to maybe win your 4th Scudetto, and your coach is already talking about hinting that he doesn't want to stay. Anyways, that's another story for another day. But guys, what would you consider, right, a salvageable season? Looks like Jovic was taken out by precaution, right? So maybe he might start if he's fit. Steve, do you put in Jimenez?
Again, Monday we'll see. We'll see what are in the cards. But I think with Jimenez getting on the score sheet, I think it would be smart to maybe give him some minutes on Monday and see what he can produce. I believe that there's still some goals in the tank for Jimenez. I don't want to give up on him yet.
Exactly. So, guys, quick reminder: Genoa lunedì, And then we have Bologna on the 11th Sunday, and the following Wednesday, Coppa Italia. We will be here. Hit those notifications, whether it be us or Coast to Coast, Fabio and Geo Live. Hopefully, Steve, we have the same result by the time we speak next Monday, but not a lackluster 3 points. Speriamo. And on that note, let's go see if who's gonna lead this country, Stevie P. On that note, final words for you to our fans, listeners, Patreons, tutte quante.
Monday, 3 points. Then we go all in, Coppa Italia. I wanna have that little tricolore on my next jersey next year.
Monday, then Sunday, 3 points, then the Wednesday, 3 points.
Well,
we have
Monday,
Bologna,
Sunday,
Serie A.
yeah. Bologna Serie A first. It's true. I forgot about that. So we're not going to skip. So Bologna 2 times. So we'll see what Bologna Sunday gives us, and hopefully we can end this season on a positive note with some wins.
Guys, thank you very much for staying with us tonight. We're a little late, but hey, it is what it is. Ovunque e sempre. Forza Milan, guys.